Yo, back so soon? Yes, indeed. It's an emergency. So I wanted to take that first video that I did, which by the way, I've already uploaded to YouTube, and start. Oh, well, echo. Got an echo. I know where that's coming from. Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. Yo, even with all of this AI technology, still, you know, one day I'll have an agent that'll just handle all of that stuff for me, just a producer in the background, AI producer. Just one of the many things that we can do. By the way, in that first video, we didn't even get into the imaginative side, like imagination run wild, all the kind of crazy stuff that you'll be able to do with once we've got these functioning agents. But let me just post this emergency stream for the Boomerang mode. So what happened with this Boomerang mode, right? And I'm going to use this as an opportunity to also run through real super quickly with how easy it is to get RooCode, which I recommend getting even if you're the sort of person that wants to wait for the thing to just be delivered to you by one of these Manus style companies. It's still fun playing around with these sorts of things, learning about it. Better just warn everyone. Cool. Post that out. Cool. Okay, let's rock into this. Awesome. So how should we start this? This Boomerang. So how this went down, right, was I was watching someone else talking about this new mode, and during their live stream, they were like, "Oh, the feature got removed or whatever." And so actually, first of all, I saw the video come up saying there was this new mode called Boomerang, and so it's one of the AI modes within RooCode. And when I looked, I didn't have it, even though I had the latest version. And I thought it was because I had added my own custom mode called Agent Setup, where it was a mode that I had designed or prompted to be an agent that will set up the agent, like the agent setting itself up. I know that sounds meta, but it actually can do it, right? You can get these agents to set themselves up, the ones that can code anyway. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why I don't have it. And then during that live stream, the guy's like, oh, they've removed it. So it looked like RooCode had added Boomerang and then taken it away. But what they must have realized, this is an assumption here, they realized that it's probably not for normies. And even though everyone that's using this is already not a normie, but being a normie is on a spectrum, right? It's the normie spectrum. So the no-code, low-code normies compared to the full coders compared to actual normies. Actual normies are not in the building, yo. Actual normies are not here. They're not watching this video. They're not playing around with RooCode, right? So, but the relative normies, this may have been a little bit dangerous because it's a little bit too automated, right? Because the idea with Boomerang, and by the way, I really like the fact that this has gone down an Australianly branded, it's a very Australian themed set of the naming that they're using for all the different parts. By the way, the RooCode logo, it used to be a rocket ship. It was a little rocket ship, and then they changed it to a kangaroo. So obviously Roo, short for kangaroo, Boomerang, another Australian icon. It was an Aboriginal weapon used for hunting birds. So, but also cool to use for fun because it's like a bent stick that you can throw and it comes back to you. Like it flies through the air and comes back to you. Seriously, for them to have that technology that early on, most of the gadgets and toys these days aren't even that good as to be able to just throw something that actually returns to you, and it's 2025. So at least it is at the time of recording. So anyway, we said this is an emergency. It is an emergency. The Boomerang Custom mode, it's still there. Well, it's still accessible, but you have to add it. So this, if you go into RooCode, so we'll do this now, right? So we'll go over to VSCode. So here's VSCode, and that's a free download. The link should be in the description if you're on YouTube. And the idea here is once you've got it installed, you can click on this one here called extensions. It's like 4 squares where one is detached. And then in there, you can search for RooCode. I've already got it installed, so it's just going to come up as like something I've got installed already. But anyway, you just search RooCode and see it says it's previous RooCline. That was the old logo. On the Chinese version, they've kept the old logo for now, the little rocket ship. So you can even see what the old logo was, right? But anyway, so you search for that, or if you prefer Klein, which is it's considered to be a bit more stable, but a bit less experimental. But most people who are messing with this kind of stuff prefer RooCode because it's all experimental, bro. So it's like, do you really want to head back down that spectrum, or do you want to just be maxing out? So just go as experimental as possible. That's RooCode. I've also got this one called Augment that I haven't had much of chance to play around with yet, but that's meant to be better than Cursor. So that's another extension you can use. And then obviously this is Klein here, which was before RooCode. This was the one that we were messing with. So once you've installed one of those, but mainly you're going to be wanting RooCode, you get that. And then see these modes in here. By the way, so in here, Boomerang would have popped up here, and then it would have disappeared for most people. And so the way to get that back is to follow those instructions that we were just looking at. Here. Oh, and by the way, in RooCode, you'll have a message that comes up the top that says, talks about Boomerang and has a link that says learn more. And that's how you get to this website over here. But if I remember, I'll also put this website in the description as well. And in fact, I'll drop it in the Telegram. I'll drop it in the Telegram right now. There's an incentive for people to go to the Telegram. That's where we're going to be discussing it anyway, right? So, and you can see I just told everyone in the Telegram about how it was removed, and then now all you have to do is just do this, right? So there it is. That's pretty badass. I like that. I like the contrast level on this. RooCode. So, and it tells you on these instructions that you just download the file. It's like a file, and then you just put it in the working directory and rename it. So pretty easy, even for someone who's not a dev. But I thought that what we would do is use this as an opportunity to see if, so that's that. Where's the part where it talks about here? It says Boomerang is a custom mode. Boomerang mode, it's not a built-in mode. So it was, but it's not anymore, right? So they're saying it's not a built-in mode, but it's a custom mode you can create for yourself, specifically designed to orchestrate workflows, breaking down tasks, delegating them to other modes. So this is what I was talking about in the previous video. This was the distinction that I made between workflows that include AI and actual AI agents. Here, it's doing it in a way where it would be considered an agent, right? Because you're having it so that the AI agent has access to this thing where it can engage these other agent, or in this case, other agent modes. I don't know and then there's a question of whether it's concurrent or not, right? So that's even more elite, is if it can engage these other modes or multiple versions of them concurrently. And that's so obviously there's it's a little bit subjective, and it's a little bit not well defined in terms of what exactly an AI agent is. For me, the definition is its ability to do things with minimal or no human intervention. But some people would say, oh, well, look, it's not a true AI agent until it can do these sort of more advanced things, right? Like engaging other AIs and doing concurrent workflows and things like that. But for me, I want the workflow to be decided by the AI, not for the AI to be part of the workflow, for it to be considered an agent, in my opinion. So that's pretty cool. And I thought what we'd do. So So I thought what we'd do, go over here to VSCode, and we're going to click done. So those are the modes. Yeah, we're going to go done. Oh, yeah, sorry, here it is. Yeah. So you'll see this, right? Do more with Boomerang tasks. Split work into subtasks with each running in a specialized mode, such as code, architect, debug, or custom, right? Now, it still doesn't specifically say whether those will be running concurrently or whether it's like a linear path that it understands how to switch between them and stuff like that. By the way, I'm pretty sure RooCode could actually switch between what mode it was if you allowed it, right? So down here in auto approve, yeah, see under auto approve, there's this mode that you can switch that I've actually got turned on, which is switch modes, allow automatic switching between different modes without requiring approval. Now, if you have that turned off, it'll still do it, but it'll just request to be able to do it. So by the way, while we're in the settings, this is how I've got mine set up in terms of what is allowed to be done auto, i.e. it does not need to ask for my permission compared to things that do need my permission, right? So editing files still needs my permission. Executing commands, even though it actually specifies, so it has actually split this up into approved commands. So they've already, even if you tick this to be auto, it will still ask for your permission if it considers it to be a high-risk command. So they've actually split all the different commands that can be put into the terminal into two categories at their discretion as to whether it's like dangerous for it to be doing an auto or not. So even if someone comes in and they're like, I want everything auto, there'll still be certain commands that will require your permission before it actually executes it in the terminal. Because look, there are commands that you can type into someone's terminal that are like, I can think of two off the top of my head that are less than 10 characters long that would just completely destroy someone's entire computer, like just completely wreck it. So you don't want the AI to be doing, certain commands, right? So not that it would. The AI is generally pretty smart. Like that's the point of AI, is that they're not dumbasses. So for them to do but you would hate to be turning an AI agent on and then you come back and your computer's like just blacked out, and when you try and turn it on, it's just completely dead. And then the only other one I don't have selected here is retry failed requests. That's not like a risk thing. That's just so it doesn't keep smashing the API, because especially if it's paid API, that's a bad idea. And if it's not paid, then typically the reason it's failing is because it's run out of requests. So and the more you smash it, the more it probably actually times you out. So, and then everything else I've allowed it to just do automatically, right? So we get rid of this. You'll be able to click this learn more to get to that link that I just talked about that describes how to get Boomerang. And then in here, so here's where you actually select the modes that we were just talking about. So once you've got Boomerang installed, it'll actually be here. You won't have this one called agent setup. That's a custom mode that I set up. And it sounds like with this Boomerang thing, maybe that would be... In fact, I'll make an even broader statement about this. Theoretically, once these AIs get hardcore enough, that it will mean that you actually will be less dependent, or may not even need at all, prompting, as much prompting or no prompting, special modes, and those sorts of things, because it'll get so smart that it will factor all of that in, or do its own version of it, or whatever. So it's just like, imagine an AI agent that's so capable that it's actually like a really smart human, and you don't have to be like saying to the human like, oh, now pretend to be a software engineer, now pretend to be a debugging expert. Like, you don't need to do that. The human is just like, you just tell it, hey, the thing that I need you to do right now is this, and it just knows how to do everything. So some of this stuff will become less important over time, but for now, this is actually quite beneficial and makes quite a big difference. So Boomerang will be down there, and I thought what we'll show, which could be pretty fun, and I think it will probably fail, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to tell this thing, we're actually going to tell it to do it. And maybe, should I leave it in code or agent setup? you know, I'm going to leave it in code mode just because then this is more closer to what you guys would be dealing with because you don't have the agent setup mode, right? So we've got it in code mode, and I'm going to say install the new. Oh, by the way, while we're here, can you guys see? Oh, okay. The top of the screen is cut off because I normally don't show that part of the screen. Anyway, there's a cog up here that's the settings. The other screen that we were in was, what's the other screen that we were in? Settings. So, because I thought I'd show you guys in settings, here's where you can select, you press the cog, you click the cog, and then you've got your API provider. So I'm on Google Gemini, you put your API key in. That's completely free. You just go to Google's website and you can get an API. Just search for like Google Gemini API key free or whatever, free API key. And then you just select the model. You want to be on this one here, Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental. And it's like March 2025. Now, that's the settings for that stuff. And so, oh yeah, here. You click on the mode down here and go edit. Down there, that's how you get to that screen that I was showing before, that shows all the different modes and you can edit the prompts and things like that. So this stuff runs pretty deep. Like it's good to have a look around and see all the different stuff that you can play around with and change it to customize it to what you think. Don't assume that just because the guys that created all of this are really, really smart, that they're going to have it fully optimized, because they're more focusing on getting this thing functionally working, not tailoring it to your specific use case. So you're always going to know your use case the most, and you want to tell the AI. I've always said to people, think of an AI, especially an AI agent, like a person that's just woken up from a coma with amnesia and they don't know who they are, they don't know where they are. You have to give them the context. You have to say, yo, you are a software engineer inside of the Roo Code, inside VS Studio, and you're here to help me. And you can keep that part fairly generic, right? You don't have to tell it, because otherwise you don't want to say you're here to help me with this specific project, which is this, in the system prompt, because then you have to remember to go back and change that prompt when you're working on a different project. You want to keep that fairly generic and say, you're here to help me with whatever software tasks I need done. And then you can see how that is going to be, like, regardless of then what you're working on, is going to fit. I mean, you can go and make it more specific if you want, but like I said, you got to remember to actually change it each time you're doing a different project. So that's cool. That's how you get there. And then here's the fun part. Oh yeah, they've got the news in here as well. Oh no, sorry. This is not news. These are prompts that I had given it in the past, right? Like I was asking it to push code to my GitHub, or asking it if it was able to push code to the GitHub. The answer was yes. And asking it to, like, you know, modify files and stuff like that. So we'll go in here and we'll go install the new Boomerang mode. Without overwriting my custom modes. Right, so it's sending the API to Google, to Gemini, and says, okay, I can help with that. First, I need to get the instructions for installing a new mode. And then it used the API to go and get that. It's like, yeah, I've got the instructions. I mean, I could have given it the website and been like, yo, this is the website that has got the instructions. But I always try to start from a place of giving it as little as possible, because part of what I'm doing here, obviously I want to achieve the task that I'm giving it, but I also want to test it out and see, because remember, we're going for the holy grail. We want the holy grail of AI agents. So ultimately, we want to just be able to give it a very top level task and have it go and do all the stuff. So here it found to configure it correctly, I need a few details. So what should the boomerang mode do? You get the idea, right? So I don't want to waste your time, but I also don't want to rush through something that is potentially going to be like modifying files and stuff like that on the computer. But hopefully that gives you an idea of its capability. It was able to like work out what I was talking about, go and find the instructions and things like that, and then and if it's unsure about something, it asks for the user input. I was hoping that we would get a little bit further along before I sort of like I would need to. I don't think it realizes. Yeah, so maybe at this point, maybe you know what? Maybe we would just go. We'll get this link out of the Telegram. Go back over here, and be like, the official instructions are here, just to make absolutely sure that it's not like guessing at how this has to be done. Okay, I understand I need to fetch the config. See, yeah, so this is gonna break here because this is what I was saying in the last video. I've been unable to get the web browsing to work like reliably in RooCode, and that's part of the Holy Grail. Is especially that's one of the things that Manus was most impressive with, was its ability to browse the web. And also the thing I liked about it, which for me is a must, is the user can see what the agent is doing on the web the whole time. Can see it surfing around. It has a visible ability for the user to visibly see what the agent is doing, what they're clicking, what they're typing, all of that stuff. And so that's one thing that I really need to keep working on with this. We're getting closer and closer by the day. But it's going to be, when you think about the tools that you want to have on your agent, you absolutely want it to be able to browse the web. If you think that you want it to replace the majority of the tasks that you do during the day, think about how many times you're actually going and doing things where you just have to go and do tasks that involves websites and going on websites. It's most of the stuff, right? So it's absolutely critical that the agent's able to do that. Another thing I forgot to say in the previous video was the cool thing about having that tool where it produces music for you based on an AI prompt is you never run into copyright strikes on YouTube. So I think that I'll probably make a video if I get time purely for that refusion tool. Another thing I forgot to mention on that first video, because I didn't want it to get too long, is, and this is really important, or this is really helpful, really time saving, is you want to get yourself access to a really good base AI that you can ask questions to. Obviously there's the Telegram, you can come and ask questions, but it's really good that obviously if you've got like an AI that is good, then it's like 24/7 instant answers. You don't have to wait for people to reply, and it's really smart and it understands code and everything. So I use Grok 3, but you could the leaders. One of the links that's always in the YouTube descriptions is LM Arena. It's a really cool website that it does like blind taste testings. So users can come there and they put a prompt in and it'll give them 2 responses from 2 different LMs and it doesn't obviously tell, you don't know, neither of them are titled. You don't know what LMs. And then, so you see which LMs give the responses that people think are the most helpful, the best responses, and in the way that people want to see. Obviously, that doesn't prove that the LM is better, but it gives you a pretty good idea. You know, it's a good starting point. And one of the biggest jumps that we've ever seen, because Grok was actually the king of the hill, when Gemini released that latest one, the one that I'm using as the brain for this agent, it was the biggest jump that has ever been seen on LM Arena. to add to for and it took the crown, obviously. So you've got Gemini 2.5 Pro, you've got DeepSeek version 3.1, you've got Claude 3.7 is still pretty good, but it's paid, and I think it's mostly paid. You might be able to get some limited free access, but it doesn't matter because it's not the king anymore, so who cares? And Grok 3. Those are probably the contenders for the best AI. So Perplexity is pretty good, and actually the Perplexity app also has a feature. In fact, I should demonstrate this for you guys because it's actually pretty cool. What should we ask it? This sort of stuff. So I want you guys to experience some of these little things that will get you inspired to actually put the effort in to start looking at some of this stuff, or staying in the loop on some of this AI stuff. And stuff like this is really cool. I know it's not actually that special, right? You're just combining talk to text and text to talk in both directions. The tech already existed. It's not that special, but this is one of the only ones. Actually, I'm not sure if it always depends on what level of account you have, whether it's paid and stuff like that, in terms of what features you have. So there might be other AIs out there that actually do already have this talk thing. I think when I was paying for ChatGPT, it did have one where you can talk to it, then it gives you a text response, but then there was a little button you could press where it would read it out. This one is actually done to feel more natively talk. And so we'll just ask it a question, maybe something to do with this. What should we, what's something we can ask it? Give me 3 reasons why it's helpful to have a base AI to ask questions to when setting up an actual AI agent.
Having a base AI to ask questions during the setup of an actual AI agent is helpful for several reasons. First, it accelerates the development process by providing immediate answers to technical or conceptual queries, helping developers troubleshoot issues and refine their approach in real time. Second, it ensures accuracy and informed decision-making by offering insights into best practices, tools, and methodologies, reducing the likelihood of errors or inefficiencies during setup. Lastly, it enhances adaptability by enabling iterative refinement based on feedback, allowing developers to optimize the agent's design and functionality as they progress.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys could hear that or not. I hope you could. I think that was actually working. And so that's pretty cool, completely free. You just download the Perplexity AI app to your phone, and then you can literally just do that voice. And so that's it. We'll leave it there for that video, and maybe if I can, so I don't typically edit in post, but if I can be bothered to cut off that little mistake that just happened, then maybe we will. It's probably worth doing. So just in terms of shadow banning and stuff like that. So anyway, that's it. We're going to leave it there. I think that was all the things that I missed in the first video. Let me actually check. Yeah, the base AI, that's really important. Yeah, and I am going to use, so with these first 2 videos, I'm going to be looking at these narrowband tools. Like there's narrowband AI tools for timestamping your videos. Obviously, creating the thumbnails is a no-brainer, and summarizing the videos in various different formats, either short clips, text versions that can go out in tweet threads and things like that. All of these different tools that if you're a content creator are going to be super helpful. We'll take a look at those as well, and maybe make videos about how I'll use them, do it, and then actually make videos about it as well. For now, the 2 main ones you want to be doing are checking out RooCode and also checking out the free version of GenSpark, so genspark.ai. Obviously, subscribing to this channel and joining the Telegram, t.me Art versus Science. See yous.